Hi, folks, and welcome to my mini lesson for you on expository writing. You are accessing this during our asynchronous testing week. And this week, you're going to be looking at two different types of writing as we get into more writing practice this unit. And one of those types of writing you're going to be familiar with is expository writing. So let's get down to business, not to defeat the Huns, but to learn more about expository writing. Sorry to let you down. What the heck is expository writing? Expository writing is a type of writing where the author's purpose is to teach or explain something, like this slideshow. I wonder if there's a connection. There is. Elements of expository writing. And of course, my head is in fact blocking this off, so I'm just going to move my head up there. There we go. You don't have a problem with that, will you? I didn't think so. What are the three elements, or three major types of elements of expository writing? That'd probably be more appropriate. We have description, number one. Expository writing should have a description of some kind where the author describes a topic. Number two, expository writing should have a sequence, or rather a particular structure for the author to order their information and to present it. This could be a numbered list. This could be information given in a very chronological order with transition words. Or it could simply be paragraphs that are broken up by different subheadings for different parts. And it can also serve three major purposes for number three. It can compare and contrast any two topics, people, events, ideas. It can show us cause and effect, or it could show us a problem and a solution. These are just a handful of very specific elements of expository writing that really help us to identify if a piece of writing is expository or narrative, simply fictitious and narrative or story-based. Questions that you are going to ask yourself, or you should be asking yourself when we're looking at expository writing. As the reader, what is the topic? Can I look at this text and know what the topic is? Are there titles, subtitles, subheadings? Can I look at something and know exactly what this piece of expository writing is about? That's number one. Number two, what is the topic about? Meaning, how can I figure out what this topic is supposed to teach me? Is there a summary? Is there a description? Is there something that tells me what the topic is about so I know I understand what's being told to me? And three, as a reader, how can I tell that the author is structuring their writing? Like, what structure do they use? What type of sequence do they use? And then after all of that has been figured out, then I can ask myself the deeper questions, to go deeper and ask myself, how can this writer or author's expository elements help me to better understand the topic and further my learning on something? We're going to be looking at one very specific example shortly. Here's the time for our examples. Moving my head again. This time, we're looking at a very specific article, which you will be able to see and access later on the playlist where this came from. I found this, and it's called 12 Practical Principles for Thriving in Adversity, Life, and Pandemics. Boom. Here's our expository writing. Let's see how many elements this article checks off and how we can tell it's a good piece of expository writing. Okay, so here's our title, here's our article. It's called 12 Practical Principles for Thriving in Adversity, Life, and Pandemics. So right here, we have our title. So that tells me something. What does this title tell us about the article? It gives us exactly what the title, or what the article is going to be about. I'm going to highlight this particular paragraph because It serves two purposes, and we're going to see how well you're able to spot them. I'm going to just read only this paragraph to you just to give us a sense of how we know this is a piece of expository writing, and also to figure out if this paragraph provides us with any information about the style, the purpose, and does it tell us what we're going to be reading about. If one thing is certain about life is that adversity is inevitable, the times we live in are no exception. However, the Stoics gave us a philosophical toolkit that not only allows us to survive adversity, but to harness it. These tools helped me to dismantle harmful ways of thinking and to be serene in times of trouble, and they can help you too. Read all the way to the end for resources on getting started. First question I have for you here. What element can this be an example of? I see that it is an example of a description because it sets up the topic, what it's about. Second question for you on this particular paragraph. What is the purpose? Remember those three purposes we looked at just not too long ago on that slide. Does it compare and contrast? Does it provide a problem or a problem/solution? Or does it give us cause and effect? It gives us a problem, and we know that there are going to be solutions provided to us in this article. Boom. So we know our title, we know our topic, we know what it's about, and we know what the purpose is. Now let's see how this writing is structured so we know for sure if this is expository writing. I'm scrolling down. Again, I'm not reading through all of this. I'm just highlighting specific features and seeing if you can pick up on them. This one right here. So not this one in particular, just in general, because we see this structure repeated. And so on, and so on. All the way down to number 12. Because as we know, this article told us in the title, there are 12 principles, practical principles for surviving and thriving through adversity. So my question is this: what type of element is this an example of? This is an example of sequence because we are seeing the information given to us in the form of a numbered list. This numbered list also bears us or gives us subtitles or subheadings that tell us what the principle is. So I know that the next paragraph or chunk of information is going to all be about that principle. And those are just a handful of elements and features that help us to identify an expository text. We'll go more in depth into this over the course of the unit, and you're going to see plenty of more examples of this. But for right now, this is just a toe dive, little dip into expository writing, and we'll catch up back with you after this week. Hopefully, you know a little bit more about expository writing now and how to identify it. Bye, folks.